that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no.
What's good, y'all? It's your boy Bright here, the R&B kid, and I'm back again with another video for y'all. How you guys doing? Hope you guys doing very well. Hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. Merry Christmas to you all. I had a very good Christmas. I was at the home, you know, I was at the crib just chilling, very peaceful with family and good food. It was very low key. I enjoyed it. But yeah, this is a very weird Christmas, like I bet it was for all of y'all. But listen, man, as long as you have your, your health and your life, you have more than enough to be grateful for. So just remember that. But yeah, I hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas. And even though this is a very, weird and dark Christmas, there was music to get us through. So that's what I'll talk about in these videos. So before we end off the year, I want to hit you guys off with my best albums of 2020. I'm gonna do a video for each genre that I love. I'm gonna do a video for pop, I'm gonna do a video for hip hop, and I'm gonna do a video for R&B. So let's get into it. This is a very weird year for music, but also a very interesting year for music because of the pandemic. There was no touring. We didn't really consume music the way we normally do. But at the end of the day, I still feel like it was a great year for music, so I wanted to highlight that. I thought a lot of great albums dropped this year for all genres. A lot of great projects dropped this year, so I definitely want to talk about that. And music was definitely a big part of getting us through, at least it did for me. I don't know about you, but so I want to talk about that. Let's get into it. I'm excited. I'm doing my top 10 pop albums and my top 20 R&B and my top 20 hip-hop albums of the year with honorable mentions throughout all these videos. Please don't pay attention to the rankings too much. I feel like rankings are very arbitrary, but for me they were fun to kind of put together and to think about. But the rankings are not that deep for me. I feel like different albums give different people different things at different times, so rankings to me are very weird, but I tried to make it as fun as I could when I was working on them. So but I hope you guys enjoy them. And also, if there was an album I don't talk about, I either did not listen to it or I just didn't think it was worthy enough to be in my top 10 or my top 20. So just comment down below what you think about my list. Hope you guys enjoy them. Comment down below what you listened to all year, what were your favorite albums and what were your favorite songs and artists of the year. Let me know down below. I'm really excited to know that. But yeah, man, if there's like I said, if there's an album here that you thought was amazing that I did not pick, I probably did not listen to it or I didn't think it was that great. So let me know down below and we can talk about it, okay? But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed these lists. Let's get into it. Without further ado, here are my best albums of 2020. Y'all ready? Let's go. Alright, y'all, so for this video I'm gonna get into what I thought were my top hip-hop albums of the year, so let's get into it. First up at number 20 we have That's What They All Say by Jack Harlow. Shout out to one of the most unproblematic dudes in hip-hop today. Shout out to Jack Harlow, I love this guy. To me, this is a really solid debut album by Jack Harlow. I'm really proud of him. I feel like this album shows a lot of good potential for him to be a long-lasting artist that has a really solid and versatile career. He really can get in many different types of pockets and many different types of vibes, and he all makes it sound really good, so I'm proud of him. This album is solid. Some of my favorite tracks are Rendezvous, Way Out with Big Sean, Keep It Light. Love the message on that track. Same guy with Adam Levine, I love the message on that one as well. Route 66, Tyler Hero, What's Poppin'. Yeah, really solid debut album from Jack Harlow. I really love this one. I really feel like he's showing a lot of potential for him to be a stable, long-lasting artist with this album. Really good project. At number 19, we got Detroit 2 by Big Sean. I'm a real big fan of Big Sean, and while this wasn't his strongest album at all, I still feel like it was a really solid project that I liked for the most part. I think what hurt this album was that it was really long, a little bit bloated. It had some feel that could have been taken off, but a lot of the tracks that were fire were great. Some of my favorite tracks: Deep Reverence with Nipsey Hussle, Wolves with Post Malone. I love that song. That was my BSM 16. Body Language with Janae and Ty Dolla $ign. Harder Than My Demons. Zen the Fuck Out. Love that track. Guard Your Heart with Anderson .Paak. I love that track. One of my favorite tracks off the album. And I also love the Detroit cypher, the Friday Night cypher with all the Detroit rappers. Really solid project by Big Sean. I really feel like he was definitely back in his bag with this one. I like this album. At number 18, we got Spilligion by Spillage Village, which is the group of Earth Gang, JID, and Mereba. I really love this album. I only heard it once, but even for my first time hearing it, I really feel like this is a special album. Something that really special that happens when all these guys get together. Spillage Village is a very special group in hip-hop, and this album was an album that really touched on religion, and they incorporated that concept into all these songs, and kind of like how we're like coming into like a new awakening in our world. So this is a really dope album. Really got into those ideas. It had a lot of features too, but really, all in all, it's a really solid project that I thought just had great production, great bars, great concepts, and it was really creative and really forward-thinking album. So shout out to Spillage Village. Great project, y'all. At number 17, we got No Pressure by Logic. I'm very proud of Logic on his last album. I feel like he went out very strong. I feel like Logic was in his bag with this album. I know a lot of think he's corny, a lot of ain't rock with him, that's cool. But Logic to me really came out with a solid project this year. This album is hard as fuck from head to toe. Some of my favorite tracks, Hit My Line, I guess, GP4, Celebration, Open Mic, Aquarius 3. Dad Ball was a really funny track. Really cool. I like though he set that one up. 5 Hooks was dope. A to Z. Man, really solid project from Logic. I really feel like he really was in his bag, you know, with his bars. The production by No ID and a lot of other producers was sick, and also 6 as well. The production was crazy. Really hard album that had really dope concept of him, like really ending out his career on a high note. I think he did that. Great project. At number 16, we got Eternal Atake by Lil Uzi Vert. I would have never thought this album would have been as high on my list as it is when I first heard it, but it definitely grew on me over time. This album is definitely one of the most like expressive and creative hip-hop albums of the year. It's such a weird and funky album by Lil Uzi Vert, but I really liked how he put it together. It has a lot of elements of like, you know, pop and rock on here, alternative too, but he really made it all come together in this cool sauce that just really laces this album with a lot of really cool weird tracks that just rock. The Deluxe was cool too, but I really love the main version of the album, the standard edition. Some of my favorite tracks are Baby Pluto, Silly Watch, Pop, and then they make Bitch Wanna Pop. You Better Move. Oh, You Better Move. Celebration Station, Bust Me, Urgency with Sid, and P2. Yeah, really cool album all around. Really creative album that I really feel like was one of the defining albums of this weird year. So shout out to Lil Uzi Vert. At number 15, we got My Turn by Lil Baby. Shout out to Lil Baby. This album was really long as hell, really bloated, especially with the deluxe version. And there's a couple songs I don't like in the beginning and the deluxe version as well. But the tracks that I do love are hard as hell. I feel like this is one of the hardest albums of the year, especially with Lil Baby's flow, the way it came across on these tracks. It was just a hard ass album that really felt like a star coming into his moment, you know what I'm saying? So some of my favorite tracks: Whoa, Can't Explain, No Sucker, Something to Prove, We Should, Catch the Sun, Gang Signs, Hurtin', Solid, and We Paid. Some of my favorite tracks off this album. But overall, this album was solid, and Lil Baby really showed that he's a star with this album. This album was hard as hell. At number 14, we have Written Testimony by Jay Electronica, which is an album that I personally don't really revisit a lot, but on the basis of its quality alone, definitely deserved a spot on this list. I do hate the fact that Jay-Z's like on half this album, but it's still a strong ass album with so many messages about, street soldier, Black Lives Matter type vibes. This is a really inspirational album. Jay Electronica's in his bag with his flow, with his bars. Really great production by a lot of different producers. Really solid, strong hip-hop album that I feel like was definitely one of the better albums of the year. Even though I don't go back to it a lot, it really was a strong album, so I definitely wanted to highlight it. So I can't really pick up my favorite tracks. Maybe The Blinding with Travis Scott, Flux Capacitor. But all these tracks are really strong at the end of the day. So really strong by Jay Electronica. Really strong album. At number 13, we got Reason with New Beginnings. Shout out to Reason, one of the newest members of TDE that finally put out I think this is his debut album, I think it is. This is an album with another TDE member just showing mad potential with great music. I really feel like he told a lot of great stories on this album. I only heard this album once, but I remember it being really strong. So I'm not gonna pick up my favorite tracks because I only heard it once, but a really cool album that just had great production, great bars by Reason, great storytelling, great sequencing, and really was a strong effort. I really feel like this album shows a lot of potential for Reason to really be a problem in the future if he keeps going and just continues to grow and get better. But this album was just really strong foundation. So shout out to Reason, really strong project. Had to highlight him. Really good project. At number 12, we have Extinction Level Event 2, The Wrath of God by Busta Rhymes. This is also another album I've only heard once, but even when I heard it the first time, it was amazing. Shout out to Busta Rhymes. I'm so proud of him. I feel like he hasn't put out an album in 8 years, and he came back strong as hell with this album. This album is definitely him returning to form. He's back with his bars. He sounds like he never really left like that, which is amazing. And a lot of good features on this album, great production by a lot of old school producers that just came through and killed the production for Busta. You could really feel like the ferocity of this album, the way he was rapping. He sounded hungry on this album. He sounded hungry. He sounded like he wanted it, and he really killed it. A lot of great throwback sounding songs, some modern songs. It really had a good mix of everything. It was a really balanced album with a really good sequencing, really good flows, really good bars, and just really good vibes and good stories throughout. Solid project by Busta. Great album. At number 11, we got Legends Never Die by Juice WRLD, a project that is so good that it makes me so sad every time I think about it that Juice really left us the way he did, and the way he predicted it throughout this whole album was just so spooky and so haunting. But this is a beautiful album with Juice WRLD giving us his legendary vibes, his amazing music with a lot of, you know, punk rock alternative vibes in there, but hip-hop at its core. Love this album. Such a great way for, you know, Juice WRLD to like really be sent off with his career officially in terms of albums, you know. Some of my favorite tracks: Conversations, Bad Energy, Righteous, great track. Tell Me You Love Me, I love that song. Life's a Mess, great track. Come and Go, Fighting Demons, Wishing Well, and also Can't Die as well. But yeah, man, shout out to Juice WRLD, rest in peace. We love you, bro. Amazing album. You were supposed to be a legendary artist, and this album is proof of that. So many good vibes throughout it. Just great songs from head to toe. And yeah, this dude could make hits in his sleep, and this album was proof of that. Amazing album. At number 10, we got Nightmare Vacation by Rico Nasty. This album might have some of my favorite production of the year, with this hard ass industrial type sound on this album. I love the production of this album, and Rico Nasty was in her bag with her bars and her flow. This album is so hard. I'm so proud of Rico Nasty. This album is amazing. Some of my favorite tracks: Candy, Check Me Out, iPhone, Shut the Fuck Up, Let It Out, Pussy Poppin', Oh For Real, Own It, Smack a Bitch. Like, this whole album was hard as hell. I'm so proud of Rico Nasty. This album is hard. It came in for a lot of people. It wasn't really it didn't make a lot of noise commercially, but this album was one of my favorite rap albums of the year. Rico Nasty, thank you for this album. It's amazing. It's a gem. This album is so hard. And if I'm in a good mood or if I'm in a bad mood, this album will be good either way. This album is amazing. Go check it if you haven't already. This album is knocking. Go check it out. Crazy. At number 9, we got Limbo by Amine. Shout out to Amine. I'm so proud of him. Amine, this album, he really put it out quietly, and it's one of my personal favorite albums of the year. Like, personally, this album is amazing. Some of my favorite tracks: Burden, that beat on Burden is crazy. Woodlawn, Can't Decide, and Compensating. Shout out to T Minus. Shimmy, Pressure My Palms, Easy with Summer Walker. That's a brazy joint that should have been a big hit. Mama, love that track. It's a sweet track. Overall, this album was my favorite albums here. Like I said, Amine really leveled up his bars, his sound, his overall, like, you know, his overall album making process. Like, he really evolved and leveled up in a great way. This album is amazing. From head to toe, just great songs that just have good replay value. You can play them again and again and not get tired. And these songs just get better with time. And this album is just a really fun, quirky, but really deep album at the same time. Love this album. And he really leveled up as a rapper too. Like, his bars are crazy on this album. Really good project. At number 8, we have Cincoriginals by Tobe Nwigwe. Shout out to my Nigerian brother Tobe. This is the album that I just heard. It came out this month in December, so I still gotta live with it a little bit more. But I've definitely had to add it to this list. It's an amazing album. So proud of Tobe. I really just got into him this year. He's an amazing rapper that just blows a lot of people out the water. But he's building his credit right now. But man, this album is amazing from head to toe. Great bars, great production by his producer. I forgot her name, but she's amazing. Female producer, shout out to that. But yeah, the bars are hard. The production is crazy. Sequencing is amazing. I love that Tobe really gets into like really talking about like your, you know, purpose and like you know, what we're meant to do on this earth, and like really getting into your powers as black people. Like, he talks about so many beautiful things on this album, and this album was just hard as hell. Even the features were great too. Like, this album overall is just amazing, hard as hell. Album that I feel like will just get better with time. Amazing project. At number 7, we got Freddie Gibbs and the Alchemist with their album Alfredo. Wow, one of the best hip-hop albums of this year. It's an album that I don't revisit a lot, but it's one of the best hip-hop albums of this year. Great album, short, to the point, 10 tracks, great. Each track is banging. My favorite track is 1985, a Scotty Beam, love that track. Frank Lucas is dope, something to rap about. Baby Shit, Babies and Fools. Like, yeah, this whole album is just crazy. Amazing bars by Freddie Gibbs. He was in his bag with his flow. The Alchemist's production was it was just beautiful. It was insane. Great, like, New York sounding, you know, just great hip hop. Like, this whole album is just insane. You can just let it rock. You can just let it play, and it's smooth. Great concepts, great bars. It just feels good. It's a great project. At number 6, we got King's Disease by Nas, which in my opinion, if this was Nas's last album, he ended off great. I don't think it will be, but if it was, this would be a great album to end off on. Shout out to Hit Boy for producing the entire album. Him and Hit Boy came together and they created magic together on this album. This is definitely Nas coming back into his form. I know a lot of people didn't like the last album, not serious, even though I like that album, but I think this is the album that a lot of people can agree was just a definite improvement. I think a lot more people appreciate this album, which I'm happy about. This album to me was definitely a highlight in this catalog. I love King's Disease, Cardi 5 with Charlie Wilson, Ultra Black, 27 Summers is a dope track. Replace Me, I love that song, love that beat. All Bad, Full Circle with the Firm, Spicy, 10 points. Like, yeah, this whole album was just fire. I loved it from head to toe. Nas is definitely back in his bag, and this is a great album showing that he's a mature legend in this game. And this album is just a great reflection of that. Really good album, solid project. Shout out to Nas. At number 5, we got Black Habits by D Smoke. This is an album that didn't really make a lot of noise commercially this year, but it's one of my personal favorite albums of the year. D Smoke really gave us a brilliant and amazing debut album with this project. Some of my favorite tracks off this album: No Comments, That Beat Is Insane, shout out to J Labs, Gasper Yanga, Top of the Morning, Black Habits 1 and 2, Fly with his brother Davion Ferris, Seasons Pass. I like the tracks with his other brother Sir, like Lights On, Closer to God, and Real Body with our Lennox 2. Yeah, man, this album was just an album where D Smoke really explored the black experience in a great way. Like, you know, talk about our highs and our lows, black families, the black struggles, so many things, you know, money, sex, all that type of stuff. Like, he really got into it in a beautiful way in this album, and it's a brilliant album by D Smoke. Great job, bro. Amazing album. At number 4, we got Savage Mode 2 by 21 Savage and Metro Boomin. This album to me feels so classic. I love, especially with like the No Limit Records album cover type vibes. You know, I loved it. This album feels really classic. It feels like a 90s hip hop album, but like in a new way. Some of my favorite tracks: Running, Glock in My Lap, Mr. Right Now, Sliding, Many Men, Snitches and Rats, Stepping on Niggas, R.I.P. Love, Said and Done. I love this album from head to toe. This album was like a no skip album. Every track is fire. Metro Boomin's production was A1. 21 Savage was in his bag with the flows and with the bars. This album is just another example of when a great rapper comes together with a great producer and they just come together and create magic. This album was amazing from head to toe. Real hip hop classic shit. Love this album. Savage Mode 2 was a banger from start to finish. Crazy album. At number 3, we got Burden of Proof by Benny the Butcher. One of my favorite hip hop albums of this year. Benny the Butcher, this album is amazing, bro. Shout out to Griselda Gang. Man, some of my favorite tracks: Burden of Proof, Sly Green, Famous, love that track. New Streets, Over the Limit with Dom Kennedy, Traded All, Thank God I Made It with Queen Naija, love that track. That feels like a classic hip hop track. And Legend with Hit Boy. Like, this whole album, another album produced entirely by Hit Boy. Hit Boy killed it this year with Nas and this album. Hit Boy was just in his bag this year. This album really, to me, feels like a classic hip hop album from head to toe. No skips, every track is hard. Benny was in his bag with his flow, with his bars. He sounded hungry this album, you could hear it. This album is classic and I just love it. You can listen to it any time of the day, any mood you in, and it'll just be rocking. This album is crazy. Shout out to Benny Butcher. Crazy project, bro. At number 2, we got Run the Jewels 4, or RTJ 4 by Run the Jewels. To me, this is definitely one of the landmark hip hop albums of the year. This album, when it dropped, it was just like a freaking bomb. LP's production is insane on this album. Some of my favorite production of the year, with Killer Mike's amazing bars and flow on this album, just lacing it. And LP rapped a little bit too. It had some good features on this album. This album was just an album that really felt like we needed it. It really came out at the height of the movement too, like when all the protests were happening. This album dropped like the very beginning of June, like when all that was going down, and it came at the perfect time. It was just a perfect hip hop album that came at the perfect time. Amazing production, amazing energy, good bars, good flow, like just good concepts, talking about, you know, just all types of stuff about like the corruption of America, black people getting our stuff together. Like, this album really tapped into a lot of deep stuff, and it was just a really well made album that just will sound good forever. This album is crazy. If you have not checked it out, go check it out right now. Crazy album. And my number 1 spot, we got the Allegory by Royce da 5'9". Shout out to Royce da 5'9". I'm so proud of him. One of the hardest rappers out here, one of the best rappers out here, low key, consistent as hell. This album from head to toe was a masterpiece in my opinion. A little bit long, but at the end of the day, every track here just means so much. Every track here is done so well. And to me, Royce da 5'9" took my top spot because he produced every track on this album, which is amazing to me. No other artist did that this year, that produced their entire album by themselves. And this album just touched on so many deep topics, from, you know, the black dollar, black struggle, crime, black advancement, there's so many different things, generational wealth, all types of stuff, like historical racism with the ice cream interlude, like so many different things. This album, produced entirely by him, Royce was rapping his ass off on this album. The production was insane. Good features that made sense. Great concepts. Great. This whole album was just a problem from head to toe. And to me, why this isn't the album that I revisited a lot this year, if I think about, to me, what I think was like the best album of the year, hip hop wise, maybe a lot of other people had other stuff, but for me, I feel like Royce da 5'9" really came through with what I feel was one of the most important albums this year. I love this album so much, and this album to me is just, it really was an achievement for Royce da 5'9". Shout out to Royce da 5'9". This album is crazy, bro, and hope you'll give us more in the future. I'm looking forward to it. This album was nuts. Thank you, sir. This album is crazy. Thank you. All right, y'all. So that was my top 20 hip-hop albums of the year. Now let me get into some honorable mentions. These are albums that did make my top 20, but I still feel like they were really good projects, so I want to talk about them. First up, we got Good News by Megan Thee Stallion. So Good News was an album that I feel like definitely was not a disappointment. It wasn't a bad album. It just wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but it still had a lot of great tracks on it that I love, like Shots Fired, Circles, Cry Baby, Freaky Girls with Sis. I love that track. Body, Yaddy Yaddy. What's New? To me, that song is a gem. I love What's New. Work That. Go Crazy. I love that track. And then all the bonus tracks at the end that I already love, especially the Savage remix with Beyonce. Yeah, this album was pretty good. It didn't feel as deep as I wanted it to be, and it didn't really feel like a breakout moment for Megan, but it still had a lot of good songs on it, so I want to highlight it. Next up, we got Juicy J with The Hustle Continues. To me, this is also one of those albums that low-key feels like a no-skip album. This album, kind of like Megan's album, is not a really deep album. It's really, you know, all these songs are really basic lyrically. But the vibe of this album is just insane. Juicy J's production throughout is insane. Every track just goes hard, just feels good. This album from head to toe is just a banger. Every track just bangs crazy. Every track feels good, so I have to highlight it for y'all. I don't have a lot of favorites, but I love Goddamn High. I love Spend It. Yeah, this whole album is just nuts. Like, Juicy J was in his bag with this album, so I definitely had to highlight it for y'all. Next up, we got Pop Smoke with this album, Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. Rest in peace, Pop Smoke. We love you, bro. Man, this album to me, also kind of like Megan and Juicy's, wasn't a really deep album, but it's a fun album that really, shout out to his team and 50. I think they did a good job of putting all these tracks together for him. Shout out to all the people that came through and featured on the album to help him out. But yeah, really fun album. It had a lot of great, you know, really good songs on it. I'm not gonna highlight favorites because I think all these songs are just equally good. And the deluxe version has some really good tracks too. But yeah, all in all, it was a really fun album, so I want to highlight for y'all. Definitely one of the biggest albums that really defined this year, and for a good reason. All these songs are fun. Pop Smoke has so much potential, and this album shows that. He really could make hits like in his sleep, and this album was proof of that. So many good songs on here. But yeah, man, rest in peace, Pop Smoke. We love you. Rest in peace. Your album was pretty good. So shout out to Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon. Good project. Next up, we got Eminem with Music to Be Murdered By, which to me wasn't like one of the best albums here, but also was an album that I wanted to highlight. I thought it was pretty good, so I definitely wanted to highlight it for y'all. Pretty good album. I haven't heard the deluxe edition yet. I don't really plan to, but I still think that the standard edition that came out in January is pretty good, so I want to highlight that as well. Shout out to Eminem for his album. And also, speaking of Eminem, Jordan Lucas with the Evolution album. I think ADHD was a trash album, but Evolution, the album that came out in October, was pretty good. Shout out to Jordan Lucas. I thought the album was pretty good. It was kind of like an EP album, but it was really good. Shout out to Jordan Lucas. I like songs off that album, and I think that album is more proof of, I think, Jordan Lucas' potential to really be a bigger hip-hop artist in this game, more so the ADHD. So I like Evolution. That was a pretty good project. And also, I'll talk about some albums that weren't really like straight up hip-hop albums, but came from like, you know, hip-hop type artists. Mac Miller with Circles. I want to highlight that as well. This was the only album I think Mac Miller ever put out that really was like kind of like a quiet, like a, not Quiet Storm, but like really like a easy listening alternative type album. But I like what he did with it, and it really was a great send off for his career. So I wanted to highlight Circles, a really cool project when it dropped back in January. And also Ty Dolla Sign's featuring Ty Dolla Sign. I talked about this album also in my R&B video, because I feel like Ty Dolla Sign straddles the line between R&B and hip hop a lot. So if you consider this a hip hop album, I want to mention it. But if you consider R&B album, I put it in my other video as well. But if you consider, featuring Ty Dolla Sign a hip hop album, then I want to mention him as well. I think he hit a pretty good album for this year. So shout out to Ty Dolla Sign. And lastly, I want to get into some mixtapes and EPs that came out this year that I thought were dope too. I'm gonna put a full screenshot of all the EPs and mixtapes that I thought were great this year at the end of this segment, but I'm just gonna highlight some right now that I want to talk about more in depth. First up, we got Common with The Beautiful Revolution Part 1. I really love this EP. I really feel like Common was just, Common's a very consistent artist that just always comes through with a great project. I love this EP. He had PJ singing all throughout this EP, and I love her voice. I love her sound. So she sounded good in this EP as well. But yeah, man, This was EP talking about, like, you know, the revolution right now and how, you know, how black women come together, the things we've been through and all that stuff. Like, so, you know, I loved it. He's always good for that. Next up, we got Russ with Chomp. Man, this Chomp EP by Russ is an EP that I really feel like came and went, but wow, the bars, the production, the flow, the energy, like, guys, Chomp is like, to me, Chomp is one of the hidden gems of this year. This EP is insane. Shout out to Russ. His album was okay, but this EP, Chomp, was just insane. I think he said it was like a dream for him to make this EP with like a lot of his like favorite producers and artists and stuff like that, like DJ Premier, Busta Rhymes. You know, you got Benny the Butcher, Black Thought on here as well. This whole EP is just insane. Shout out to Russ. This whole Chomp is crazy, so go check it out if you haven't already. And next up, we got Bia with her For Certain EP, which came out this month in December. I love Bia, so I definitely have to highlight her. Her EP was insane. I love this EP. So many good songs on it. We got Skate, we got Bia, Whole Lot of Money, Same Hands, Plate, Cover Girl. Like, this whole EP is just insane. Shout out to Bia. I had to highlight her. She has a really bright career if she keeps going. I love her. I love her sound, love her flow, love her vibe. I think she's from Boston too. Shout out to Boston. Next up, we got Flo Milli with Ho, Why Is You Here? If this had been an album, it definitely would have been my best albums of the year, but this is a mixtape, so I had to highlight it as a mixtape. Flo Milli's Ho, Why Is You Here? Highlight of this year. That mixtape, banging from head to toe. Flo Milli, like, Flo Milli shit, ho. I don't know nothing about Flo Milli early this year, but then when she dropped this EP, I would just make sure I can't hear about it. And everybody kept talking about it. I was like, all right, let me check out this girl. And I was like, yo, Flo Milli is talented. Like, yo, this girl can rap. Her production's insane. Like, her bars are crazy. Her energy's dope. Her sound is dope. I love her sound. Like, yeah, Flo Milli's dope. Definitely was a highlight for me this year. This mixtape was crazy. Next up, we got Wale with The Perfect Storm. This is an EP that Wale quietly dropped earlier this year, but I thought it was amazing. Shout out to Wale. This EP was dope. Shout out to Wale. The Perfect Storm was an amazing EP that I think he really dropped like right when quarantine started, so it was a great album that really talks about a lot of that stuff too. Next up, we got Chica with Industry Games. Man, I'll tell you, when I love Chica, so happy for her Grammy nomination. Chica's an amazing artist. I'm really looking forward to seeing her do more in the industry. She has great potential. Her EP, Industry Games, was great. I love this EP. Some of my favorite tracks, Industry Games, Balenci's, Designer, Crown. Yeah, Chica's a problem. Her music is dope. Shout out to Chica. Definitely have to highlight her for y'all. And also, we got Dave East with Karma 3. This mixtape came out in August. I love this mixtape. Dave East was in his bag throughout this whole mixtape. You know, just, you know, great bars, great flow, great production, you know, good stories, good energy. You know, just Dave East in his normal, usual flow. I don't know if we'll ever see a day where Davis will pop through into the mainstream. I don't think that'll ever happen. Maybe he's just meant to be an underground artist, but Davis is dope. If there was someone I would like give, like, you know, like a wave with Magic Wand and like the GP would wake up to them, it would be in hip hop, it would be Dave East. But it is what it is. But yeah, Karma 3 was a dope addition to his catalog. Great mixtape. Shout out to had to highlight Dave East for y'all. Shout out to Karma 3. And next up, we got Vic Mental with V-Tape. This is a really short EP that dropped early this year too, kind of out of nowhere, quietly. I think it dropped back in like August, I think. But Vic Mental, shout out to you. V-Tape is dope. It's amazing. Shout out to you, man. And yeah, I'm not gonna pick out favorites, but this whole tape was just a crazy EP. Like, every track on this thing was crazy. Shout out to Vic Mensa. He was definitely hungry as hell on this EP. He was just spitting crazy. And lastly, I want to highlight 2000 and Forever by Bree Runway, who's an artist that I just got put onto. I think when I was checking out the Friend Zone podcast, like, they talked about her. And Bree Runway is dope. I love this EP, 2000 and Forever. It's giving us like a lot of, like, you know, early 2000s, like, you know, Missy Elliott type quirky vibes. And she even got Missy on ATM, which is a dope track that I love. One of my favorites off this EP. I also love like Ape Shit, Low Nokia, Damn Daniel. Like, yeah, this whole No Sir freestyle, like, yeah, this whole EP is insane. Bree Runway is mad talented and has a lot of potential. I love her sound. I love her vibe. Her visuals are dope too. Like, she's really talented, so I'm looking forward to seeing what she does in the game as well. All right, so those are just some I want to highlight for y'all, but here's a screenshot of my full list of mixtapes and EPs that came out this year that I really want to highlight for y'all that I thought were dope. These are all some of my favorites. Even the ones I didn't mention, these are some of my favorite, like, you know, mixtapes and EPs of the year, so enjoy them. You know, check out the list. Let me know what you think. And also let me know down below what were some of your favorite mixtapes and EPs that came out this year that weren't full albums. I really want to know. Alright y'all, so those are my top 20 hip-hop albums of the year. Let me know what y'all thought about them down below. Let me know what y'all thought about my ranking, just the overall list in general. Let me know if you thought it was whack, if you thought it was great, if you thought it was alright. Let me know down below. I really want to know. And also let me know down below what were your favorite albums of the year. What were your favorite hip-hop songs of the year too. Let me know down below. If you think I missed anything, let me know down below as well too. I'm only one person. I can't listen to everything that came out this year, so if there's any albums you think I missed out on talking about, let me know down below. I appreciate it. But yeah, man, also if you guys haven't already, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? Appreciate y'all. Like I always say, guys, live your best life, drink more water, stay woke, and if you're mad or sad, go listen to your favorite song and make you feel better, okay? Go listen to your favorite song. And please, guys, wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance as much as you can, okay? I'm gonna say it again, mask up, wash your hands, social distance as much as you can. And when it's time to get vaccinated next year, please do it. Don't hesitate to get vaccinated. It's necessary. We need to do it for our public health, okay? And for our public safety, we gotta do it. So please get vaccinated next year. But I'm gonna get off my public health soapbox. Alright y'all, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. This has been your boy Bright, the R&B Kid. Thanks for watching. But for now, I'm signing off, baby. Bye y'all. Peace.
I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, 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 no. I came to vibe, you came to function, just do that, baby. Don't worry about nothing, no, no, no. Relax just a little bit. You don't gotta worry, you can just